Hello, Oklahoma. Emma White here with your weekly Mesonet weather report. Since October is now over, let's take a look back at the interesting month we had. The first map is departure from average of the air temperature in October. We can see that the entire map of Oklahoma is showing above average values. In several places, we experienced over 5 degrees above average maximum air temperature in October. Next, this map shows the total rainfall departure from average in October. The north part of the state shows some near average values in grays and above average values in greens, with few oranges and browns, but the south parts of the state were not so lucky. The southern areas are showing below average values with the oranges and browns across the entire southern and even central parts of the state. Thus, rainfall was generous to the northern half, but not so much to the southern half of the state. The plant available water in the top 4 inches of the soil in October shows scattered above average values in the green, but the central part of the state did not have above average values as showcased with those orange and brown colors. Most parts of the state could use rain, but most certainly central Oklahoma. The plant available water in the top 16 inches of the soil shows a fairly similar story to the top 4 inches, but does show that just to the east of the panhandle, the soil moisture is quite above average there. The average 2-inch soil temperature below vegetation was above average in the state, which makes sense based on the high air temperatures we experienced in October. Only the very southeast part of the state experienced average soil temperature near expected values for October. Overall, a fairly warmer and drier October for the state than average. Gary McManus is up next with your state climatology report.
Thanks, Emma, and good morning, everyone. Well, another week without rainfall, unfortunately, and another change on the drought monitor map. Not a good one. Let's take a look. Well, you can see we have basically the same type of picture, the southern half of Oklahoma in the yellow and the browns. Those are areas with abnormally dry conditions and drought, and unfortunately those tans and browns got bigger. So that means more moderate drought across the southern half of the state and also more severe drought. Unfortunately, it's looking more and more like we're going to see more of these colors as we go forward unless we get significant rainfall. Why is this going on? Well, unfortunately, we're working on another dry spell across the state. Here you can see the consecutive days with less than a 1/4 inch of rainfall map from the Oklahoma Mesonet. We're now up to more than 10 days across much of Oklahoma. Of course, this will be longer as we get to the weekend. And if you look down there in southwestern Oklahoma, it's up to more than 44 days. So another dry spell. It's certainly not welcome. Also a little bit out there in the western panhandle getting a little bit dry too. The 30-day rainfall map looks good if you're across the northeastern 1/3 of the state. Not so good in other parts. By and large, we had less than 2 inches across much of that area of the southwestern quarter of the state up into central Oklahoma and also over in southeastern Oklahoma. And of course there are other areas in those blue regions where they got less than 1 inch or 2 inches of rainfall. So not a good look for the state right now. And much of that area across the southwestern quarter, basically the southwestern half of the state, less than 50% of normal across a large area. So definitely not good if you're tracking drought for the state of Oklahoma. It's a pretty simple message. We need rainfall, especially across the southwestern half of the state. Hopefully we'll get some soon. It's not the wettest part of the year, but we can get good rainfall. I'm not sure it's showing up yet, but we will certainly keep an eye on it. That's it for this time. We'll see you next time on the Mesonet Weather Report.